Welcome. In this video I am going to solve this particular question. So in this question we have to find the value of this given expression. So it looks daunting, but there is a trick to solve this particular question. So let us apply that trick and solve this question. So in this question, this expression plus 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 this expression. So we have to find the value of this. So first let me write down the expressions. So this is expression number 1. So expression exp for expression number 1. That is added to this expression. So this is expression exp for expression number 2. That is added to this expression. So this expression is expression number 3. That is added to this expression. Let us call it expression number 4. That is added to this expression. So this is expression number 5. That is added to this expression. So expression number 6. That is added to this expression. So expression number 7. And that is finally added to our last expression. So expression number 8. So there are 8 expressions and they are added to each other and we have to find the value of them. So what we will do is we will rationalize the denominator of all these 8 expressions. So we are going to rationalize the denominator of all these 8 expressions. So in the first step, what we are going to do is we are going to rationalize the denominator of all these 8 expressions. So that is our first step. So let us do that. So let us do it in a rough paper. Okay. So let us take this paper and let us do it. So the first expression is 1 upon 1 plus square root of 2. So I am going to rationalize the denominator of this given expression. So this given expression I can write it as 1 upon, now 1 plus square root of 2 I can write it as square root of 2 plus 1. 1 plus square root of 2 can be written as square root of 2 plus 1. So it becomes 1 upon square root of 2 plus 1. Now in order to rationalize the denominator of this expression, what I am going to do is I am going to multiply the denominator of this expression with square root of 2 minus 1. So I am multiplying the denominator of this expression with square root of 2 minus 1. And since I am multiplying the denominator of this expression with square root of 2 minus 1, I will have to multiply the numerator of this expression also with square root of 2 minus 1. So that the value doesn't change. The original expression remains the same. So 1 upon square root of 2 plus 1, this is multiplied to square root of 2 minus 1 upon square root of 2 minus 1. So what does it become? So this is now multiplication. So the numerator will be 1 multiplied to square root of 2 minus 1, which is simply square root of 2 minus 1. So this is the numerator. The numerator is square root of 2 minus 1 upon, now the denominator will be square root of 2 plus 1 multiplied to square root of 2 minus 1. So it looks a plus b multiplied to a minus b in that form. Square root of 2 plus 1 multiplied to square root of 2 minus 1, it looks in the form of a plus b multiplied to a minus b. and a plus b multiplied to a minus b is a square minus b square. So it will become square root of 2 whole square minus 1 whole square, a square minus b square. So it will become square root of 2 whole square minus 1 whole square. A plus b multiplied to a minus b is a square minus b square. Here a is square root of 2, b is 1. So a square minus b square. So square root of 2 plus 1 multiplied to square root of 2 minus 1 becomes square root of 2 whole square minus 1 whole square. And that is what? So the numerator is square root of 2 minus 1 upon the denominator will be square root of 2 whole square minus 1 whole square. Now square root of 2 whole square is 2. Square root of 2 whole square, this is 2. So 2 minus 1 whole square is 1. So it is 2 minus 1. So square root of 2 minus 1 upon 2 minus 1 is 1. And square root of 2 minus 1 upon 1 is simply square root of 2 minus 1. So square root of 2 minus 1. So the first expression, when I do the rationalization of its denominator, it becomes square root of 2 minus 1. So the first expression becomes square root of 2 minus 1. So 1 upon 1 plus square root of 2, which is expression number 1, after doing all the operations, it is equal to square root of 2 minus 1. So this becomes square root of 2 minus 1. So I will write it over here. So this expression turns out to be square root of 2 minus 1 plus. Now let us rationalize the denominator of expression number 2. So let us do it over here. So the expression number 2 is 1 upon square root of 2 plus square root of 3. Now this expression I can write it as 1 upon square root of 2 plus square root of 3. I can write it as square root of 3 plus square root of 2. Square root of 2 plus square root of 3 can be written as square root of 3 plus square root of 2. And now we are going to rationalize the denominator of this expression. So for that, I will multiply the denominator of this expression with square root of 3 minus square root of 2. And since I am multiplying the denominator of this expression with square root of 3 minus square root of 2, I will multiply the numerator also of this expression with square root of 3 minus square root of 2. And now let us solve this. So multiplication. So the numerator will be 1 into square root of 3 minus square root of 2, which is square root of 3 minus square root of 2. Numerator is square root of 3 minus square root of 2. And the denominator will be, so square root of 3 plus square root of 2 multiplied to square root of 3 minus square root of 2. Again a plus b multiplied to a minus b. So a square minus b square. So it will be square root of 3 whole square minus square root of 2 whole square. A plus b into a minus b is a square minus b square. So square root of 3 whole square minus square root of 2 whole square. So square root of 3 plus square root of 2 multiplied to square root of 3 minus square root of 2 is square root of 3 whole square minus square root of 2 whole square. So the numerator is square root of 3 minus square root of 2 upon the denominator is square root of 3 whole square minus square root of 2 whole square. Square root of 3 whole square is 3. Square root of 3 whole square is 3 minus square root of 2 whole square is 2. So it becomes 3 minus 2. And 3 minus 2 means 1. So square root of 3 minus square root of 2 upon 1, which is simply square root of 3 minus square root of 2. So expression number 2, this, when I rationalize its denominator, it becomes square root of 3 minus square root of 2. So this expression becomes square root of 3 minus square root of 2. And now let us do this. I think you are seeing the pattern over here. Now let us do the remaining ones a bit faster. Now we are going to rationalize the denominator of the third expression. Okay. So 1 upon square root of 3 plus square root of 4. 1 upon square root of 3 plus square root of 4. Now this I can write it as 1 upon square root of 4 plus square root of 3. Square root of 3 plus square root of 4 can be written as square root of 4 plus square root of 3. And now I will rationalize the denominator of this expression. So I will multiply the denominator of this expression with square root of 4 minus square root of 3. And since I am multiplying the denominator of this expression with square root of 4 minus square root of 3, I will multiply the numerator also of this expression with square root of 4 minus square root of 3. So it becomes this. Now multiplication, let us do it. So this into this is square root of 4 minus square root of 3. Numerator is square root of 4 minus square root of 3. And the denominator will be this multiplied to this. So square root of 4 plus square root of 3 multiplied to square root of 4 minus square root of 3. A plus b multiplied to a minus b. So a square minus b square. So a square square root of 4 whole square minus b square. So square root of 3 whole square. So this is square root of 4 minus square root of 3 upon square root of 4 whole square is 4 minus square root of 3 whole square is 3. So 4 minus 3. 4 minus 3 is 1. So square root of 4 minus square root of 3 upon 1, or simply square root of 4 minus square root of 3. So expression number 3, this becomes square root of 4 minus square root of 3. So square root of 4 minus square root of 3. So this is expression number 3. Plus, now expression number 4. I hope you are seeing the pattern. So let us do this fast. 1 upon square root of 4 plus square root of 5. So 1 upon square root of 4 plus square root of 5. So this I can write it as 1 upon square root of 5 plus square root of 4. And to rationalize the denominator of this expression, I will multiply the denominator of this expression with square root of 5 minus square root of 4. So I will multiply the numerator of this expression also with square root of 5 minus square root of 4. And this will become, so let us do this multiplication fast. The numerator will be 1 into square root of 5 minus square root of 4 is square root of 5 minus square root of 4. Numerator is this. And the denominator will be square root of 5 plus square root of 4 multiplied to square root of 5 minus square root of 4. A plus b multiplied to a minus b. So a square minus b square. So a square square root of 5 whole square minus b square square root of 4 whole square. So this is square root of 5 minus square root of 4 in the numerator, and then in the denominator square root of 5 whole square is 5 minus square root of 4 whole square is 4. So 5 minus 4 is 1. So it is square root of 5 minus square root of 4. So this becomes square root of 5 minus square root of 4 plus, now this one upon square root of 5 plus square root of 6. 1 upon square root of 5 plus square root of 6. So this I can write it as 1 upon square root of 6 plus square root of 5. In order to rationalize the denominator of this expression, I will multiply the denominator with square root of 6 minus square root of 5. And since I am multiplying the denominator with square root of 6 minus square root of 5, I will multiply the numerator also with square root of 6 minus square root of 5. So this will become, let's do this multiplication. So the numerator will be square root of 6 minus square root of 5, and the denominator will be a plus b multiplied to a minus b. It is in this form, so a square minus b square. So square root of 6 whole square minus square root of 5 whole square. So this will be square root of 6 minus square root of 5 upon square root of 6 whole square is 6 minus square root of 5 whole square is 5. 6 minus 5 is 1. So it turns out to be square root of 6 minus square root of 5. So this is square root of 6 minus square root of 5. Then plus 1 upon square root of 6 plus square root of 7. So 1 upon square root of 6 plus square root of 7. I can write this as 1 upon square root of 7 plus square root of 6. To rationalize the denominator of this expression, I will multiply the denominator with square root of 7 minus square root of 6. And since I am multiplying the denominator of this expression with square root of 7 minus square root of 6, I will multiply the numerator of this expression also with square root of 7 minus square root of 6. And now let us do this multiplication. So the numerator will be square root of 7 minus square root of 6. This is the numerator. And the denominator will be square root of 7 plus square root of 6 multiplied to square root of 7 minus square root of 6. So it is in the form of a plus b multiplied to a minus b, which is a square minus b square. So a square, so square root of 7 whole square minus b square, so square root of 6 whole square. So numerator is square root of 7 minus square root of 6. The denominator is square root of 7 whole square is 7 minus square root of 6 whole square is 6. So 7 minus 6, which is 1. So it is square root of 7 minus square root of 6. So this is square root of 7 minus square root of 6. And then we are left with these two. Let us do this also. 1 upon square root of 7 plus square root of 8. So 1 upon square root of 7 plus square root of 8. So this I can write it as 1 upon square root of 8 plus square root of 7. Now to rationalize the denominator of this expression, I will multiply the denominator of this expression with square root of 8 minus square root of 7. And since I am multiplying the denominator of this expression with square root of 8 minus square root of 7, I will multiply the numerator of this expression also with square root of 8 minus square root of 7. And now let us do this multiplication. So the numerator will be square root of 8 minus square root of 7. And the denominator will be this into this. So square root of 8 plus square root of 7 multiplied to square root of 8 minus square root of 7. So it is in the form of a plus b multiplied to a minus b, which is a square minus b square. So a square, so square root of 8 whole square minus b square, so square root of 7 whole square. So this will become, the numerator is square root of 8 minus square root of 7. The denominator will be square root of 8 whole square is 8 minus square root of 7 whole square is 7. So the denominator becomes 8 minus 7, which is 8 minus 7 is 1. So the expression becomes square root of 8 minus square root of 7. So this becomes square root of 8 minus square root of 7. Plus, and now the last expression, let us do this also. 1 upon square root of 8 plus square root of 9. Now this I can write it as 1 upon square root of 9 plus square root of 8. So we have to rationalize the denominator of this expression. So I will multiply the denominator of this expression with square root of 9 minus square root of 8. And since I am multiplying the denominator of this expression with square root of 9 minus square root of 8, I will multiply the numerator of this expression also with square root of 9 minus square root of 8. And now let us do this multiplication. So the numerator will be square root of 9 minus square root of 8. And the denominator will be, it is in the form of a plus b into a minus b. So a square minus b square. So square root of 9 whole square minus square root of 8 whole square. So the numerator is square root of 9 minus square root of 8, and the denominator is square root of 9 whole square is 9 minus square root of 8 whole square is 8. So denominator is 9 minus 8, which is 1. So it becomes square root of 9 minus square root of 8. So let me remove this. So this becomes square root of 9 minus square root of 8. And now this becomes simpler because there is no denominator over here, or you can say the denominator is 1. So now we can solve this, and now this is addition subtraction. This is now addition subtraction. So let us solve this. Remove the brackets. So square root of 2 minus 1 plus square root of 3 minus square root of 2 plus square root of 4 minus square root of 3 plus square root of 5 minus square root of 4 plus square root of 6 minus square root of 5 plus square root of 7 minus square root of 6 plus square root of 8 minus square root of 7 plus square root of 9 minus square root of 8. And this is what? Square root of 2 minus square root of 2 cancel with each other. Square root of 3 minus square root of 3 cancel with each other. Square root of 4 minus square root of 4 cancel with each other. Square root of 5 minus square root of 5 cancel with each other. Square root of 6 minus square root of 6 cancel with each other. Square root of 7 minus square root of 7 cancel with each other. Square root of 8 minus square root of 8 cancel with each other. So what we are left with? we are left over here minus 1, and over here we are having plus square root of 9. So plus square root of 9, or simply square root of 9 and then minus 1. This is what we get. So plus square root of 9 minus 1. So square root of 9 minus 1. Square root of 9 is 3. So 3 minus 1. 3 minus 1 is 2. So the answer is 2. So the value of this particular expression is 2.